all right? Make sure you're riding switch. All right, so why is riding switch so important? Well, if you think about it, if you're doing an arm curl, you'd be doing it with both arms, right? That way you'll have equal strength and equal distribution on both your arms. That's, for example, if you're doing your bicep curls. Same with triceps. You know, you're working, if whatever you do on one arm, you're gonna do with your other arm. It's a pretty basic concept, and I don't really have to get into too much of the details of muscles, but imagine if you have a disproportionately strong left hand, but then a weaker right hand. Of course, that's fine, but then when the difference is so drastic, it's a bit of an issue. So same thing in skateboarding. If you're comfortable riding with your regular foot, get used to riding on your goofy foot as well, or your opposite foot, whichever one is different for you. That way you can get an equal distribution of strength on your legs as well as your body, and get used to the different awkward motions of balance. So I was filming a video earlier today on how to do frontside 180s, but then something clicked in. I realized that you're not going to get the frontside 180s down properly if you don't know how to ride switch, because once you do the jump on the 180 side, you're going to be rolling away switch. So then let's say you're trying to learn it while rolling, well, it's going to feel awkward once you actually land it. Okay, the one thing I want to stress is that if you're a beginner skater, learning how to ride switch is way easier than if you have a bit of experience, just because the same level of awkwardness that you have as a regular foot will be applied to the same awkwardness as being switch footed. So that way it's easier to learn and have the same exact progression level. So there's a lot of guides out there on the internet talking about doing tricks a certain way, like a certain progression of tricks. For example, let's take Aaron Cairo's beginner skate guide, where he starts from the ollie, going into front side, pop shove-its, kick flips, and then heel flips. It's good. Those are all very basic tricks that as a beginner you need to get down. However, I think the issue with that is it's not telling people to ride switch and get used to the awkward sensations of riding switch. Once you've learned a trick in regular, I suggest instead of following the progression and going into a pop shove it, let's say for example you do an ollie, okay? You learn how to do the ollie on your regular foot. Now I would suggest to actually go into learning the ollie switch as opposed to doing an ollie and then a regular shove it. So then once you get the ollie down switch, you then move on to a pop shove it and then switch pop shove it. Now, why is this important? Well, if you think about it, frontside and backside 180s, for example. Let's say you learned how to do the frontside 180 and then the frontside 180 switch. Okay, so you got both of those down. Now, when you go into learn into the backside 180, you'll realize that it's the exact same as the switch frontside 180, because all you're doing is you're shifting your body weight to the opposite side. And so that way, the backside 180 will be easier to learn once you've gotten the switch one down. And this is the same with any other trick. So for example, kick flips are regular, but then heel flips, there is an element to going on the switch side. That is because you're flipping the board on the front side as opposed to the back side. So if you were to learn, let's say for example, switch kick flips, then your heel flips will get better. Right anywhere. Like say for example, this road right here. And basically what I would do is I would ride around this road at least 10 times, and that would be my set of riding regular, okay? Now, the other thing I would do is once I've ridden around the block 10 times, again, getting used to the idea of doing everything as sets and reps, I would try my hardest to ride switch with my opposite foot. Alright guys, so to recap, instead of learning the tricks as a progression, which is fine, I want you guys to implement one thing before you move on to a different trick. That is to try the same exact trick, only doing it switch. That way you can get used to the board and how it's moving. So for example, you learn the regular ollie, then switch ollie, and then you slowly make your way up. The other thing too is just to get used to riding switch. You know, if you're not comfortable riding switch, then start riding switch, because it's the exact same motions. It's just you're doing it with a different foot. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hope this video has helped you guys a lot.